Hello, and welcome to Rooted for Jesus podcast. It is my hope that through this podcast, you would be able to find peace and hope and joy in a very chaotic world. If you're a new Christian, if you've been in the faith for a while, this is for you. We are in this together, and this is a movement to be the salt and the light of the earth when it is needed the absolute most. Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to today's episode. Today is January 27th, 2021. Today actually marks our first weekly podcast, so yay, that's exciting. And I am just, I'm doing this because I want to bring hope in what seems like a really, really dark world right now. And I don't want to claim to have it all together, friends. I really don't, because I don't. I have days that I struggle, but Jesus always pulls me through, and there is always, always hope in Him. So today I wanted to talk about just kind of where we're at. I mean, I think, a lot of us have been dragged through the mud, and we've followed all the conspiracies. We have, some of us still have hope that something will come out of all of this. But I want to prepare the church for if nothing happens. Because truly, we do not know. We do not know God's plan. We do not know how this will all unfold. And for us to just be going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole is really not doing anything to change the world. It's not doing anything to broaden the kingdom of Christ. And so that is why I have started this entire movement, this Rooted for Jesus movement. First and foremost, if you're here, thank you. I wouldn't be able to do any of this without all of you. And so I just want you to know that you're an integral part of this. So I want to talk about salt and light. There's a Bible verse in Matthew 5:13. So it says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." So what does this mean? To me, it means that we are the light of this world, and we know that the darkness is overtaking. We also know that in the end times that this is going to happen. What I want to say before I get into this is I believe that we are the generation. I don't know when the end is going to be here. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be 10 years from now. We just know that we are to discern the times. No man knows the day or hour. We've heard that verse a million times, and people like to throw it out at you when you say we're living in the end times. They automatically think that we are, teaching doom and gloom, and that's not the case. Because truly, if you have a good relationship with Jesus, you should be looking for the signs and be excited. You think back to the disciples' time, and they were already asking Jesus before he left, when are you going to return? And so there's a lot of excitement around that. It's kind of surreal to be living in this time. I've been teaching Bible prophecy since 2012, and back then I felt like it was really, really soon. And if you would have told me then where we would be today, I would not have believed you. So there's this disconnect that we're living in right now where it doesn't feel like we're part of this world, because I believe that God's preparing our hearts to detach ourselves from this world. The important part of this, though, to remember is that we are still here. We don't have to, be in the world, or of the world, I should say. We have to be in it because we are here. So what do you think Jesus would have us do right now? I don't think that he would have us just sit back and do nothing. Think about it think about it in his terms. Jesus was sent to earth to preach the word of God and to reach people. He knew his demise was coming. He knew that he was going to have to die for us. And what did he do with those 33 years that he had? He certainly didn't just sit back and wait for it to happen. Like, well, this is going to really suck. In 33 years, I'm going to have to die this terrible death. So I think I'll just chill here and wait for it to happen. I don't think that's what he wants us to do, friends. I think he wants us to double down, and he really wants us to be the salt and the light in the earth. So let's talk about what Jesus meant when he was talking about being the salt of the earth. Because when you think of salt, if you have teenage kids like I do, they use, oh, that's salty to mean something's bad. So what did Jesus mean? I think when we think of salt, we tend to think of a fairly cheap spice that we would keep on the table next to our pepper. But that's not how the crowd that surrounded Jesus would have thought about salt. They would have recognized its two major properties, which would have been preservation and flavor. So no one in the first century had freezers. So if you wanted to preserve meat, it actually had to be cured. And this was done by drying it and salting it. So Jesus seemed to be telling them that they were to help preserve the world where they lived. But they were also instructed to give it flavor. See, salt naturally enhances taste by intensifying certain flavors, or sometimes it decreases it. So Jesus seemed to be saying that those who were in step with God would make the world a more enjoyable place by what? By enhancing and communicating God's goodness. And as Jesus pointed out, if his followers were to lose their saltiness, they would no longer be effective at protecting and amplifying God's goodness in the world. Now, to me, that's amazing. And again, if we go back and just say like, oh, we're just going to sit back and wait until the end, that really goes against what Jesus was teaching. And then if you look at the light of the world, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. We have an understanding of light that first century's Jews didn't. For instance, we know that it's because of light that we can see the entire spectrum of colors. We know that sunlight provides the energy needed to sustain life on Earth, and it gives us critical vitamin D. But because most of us have never lived without electric light, we miss Jesus's main point here. When we walk into a dark room, we flick a switch and the room is bathed in light, right? But that was not the case for people in Jesus's time. See, they lit their homes at night with small oil lamps. The picture of someone lighting a lamp and then putting it under a clay pot would have been humorous to this crowd. The only reason to light a lamp was so you could see. And just like Jesus suggested, you would place that lamp in a place where it could give off as much light as possible. So the implication here is pretty clear. Our faithfulness should be evident to all. The behavior of God's people should be a light that draws others to it. Like both salt and light, our relationship with God should have an obvious impact on everyone who comes in contact with it. Jesus, he's not calling us to be devoted. He's encouraging us to have an influence everywhere we go. And that's so important, my friends. It's so important right now. We have been taken on a wild, wild ride. We thought things were going to happen one way. We thought that all the evil was going to be exposed in some magnificent way, that all would be fixed, that everyone would know the truth, and that evil would finally be gone. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but, the devil has dominion over the earth. God made it that way. So when all the evil is exposed, and justice will be served in a mighty, mighty way, the way God knows how to serve justice. And at every point in the Bible, when justice was served, he would pluck his people out so that justice could be served. So I'm not a scholar. I don't know exactly what is going to happen. Actually, nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen in the end. But what I do know is that our earth is really sad right now. There is so much darkness. And I think so many of us feel helpless because, we did what we could. We voted for who we thought could expose the darkness. But right now, in this moment, on this January 27th of 2021, nothing has been exposed. In fact, those of us that have been out there, yelling on the rooftops that all this was going to be exposed and you just wait and you just watch and see, well, now we all just look like idiots. Now that outcome that we attached with God and with Trump looks even sillier to the darkness. Now they can dig their heels in and make us look like we're the crazy ones. And they can start to delegitimize God. Now, I know that God cannot be delegitimized as a whole. But in this world, because so many attached an outcome, a specific outcome, to God, now the evil one can have a field day with that. Where's your God now? Oh, surely your God didn't show up. See, I told you he wasn't real. And that's the same trick that the enemy's been using since Jesus was on the cross. They even said to him, well, if you were really God, why don't you get yourself out of this? Where's your God now? The reason they were saying that was because they were attaching a specific outcome to God. And that specific outcome was, well, if God is real, he will show himself right now and get you off this cross. And what people were doing in today's world was, if God is real and really cares about us, he will expose all the evil in this way. And there'll be an emergency broadcast this way. But that's not how it worked, because that's not God's plan. And again, we don't know what that is. So here we sit. Now we all have been delegitimized. Now we've all fallen down these rabbit holes and we feel like idiots, truthfully, because we're smarter than that. But the problem is that we got so involved with it because the evil is so deep and so dark, my friends, that we have a heart like God and we want to see this stuff. We want to see justice for the children, for all of the children, for the unborn children, for the sex trafficking, for the pedophilia, all of this. It is so dark. It is so hard to come face to face with, and yet nothing has happened. In fact, now the evil ones are in our government and they're laughing at us and there's nothing we can do. But yes, there is. Now is our time to really double down and to become the salt and the light that Jesus called us to be from the very beginning. Now is the time to get involved in movements that show the true love of Jesus. And that doesn't mean necessarily going to your friends and lecturing, because right now, anybody that's not a believer is going to probably be looking at us like, wow, you guys really think I'm going to listen to you. No, they're not going to listen to us. So you're probably like, well, Stacy, then what do we do? Okay, well, now comes into place, we have to show them. We have to actually physically show them the love of Christ, which means when they come against you, you bless them and you move on. I know if you follow me on TikTok, you will see that I call out people sometimes when they come after me in the comment section. I don't have time to do everyone, but occasionally I will do one and say, you know what? I'm not going to get angry at you and respond. I'm going to bless you because you are a child of God, regardless of whether you believe it or not, or even regardless whether you believe in him or not. It is not his will that any man should perish. He would leave the 99 to find the one. So it is our job to bless people. And what that looks like, and I learned this through our church plant, was really getting in your community and just being that salt and that light. And this has the power to change people. It really, really does. Because how many times have you heard a non-believer say, I think I'm going to heaven. I mean, I do good. I do good things. I volunteer my time and I give when I can, and I'm generally a good person. Yes, so everyone can connect with that. But what happens when they see a person, a Christ follower, actually putting into motion the things that they preach and teach, it hits different, friends. When they see you in your community giving back and doing things and loving on people that in their minds you probably wouldn't normally be loving on, that's when the difference starts to happen. Now, I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but I think that we're going to be coming out of this pretty soon. And we could get into that a different time. But regardless of whether this has been a political scheme or not, we know COVID is a real sickness that people are really dying from. The actual severity of it, that's up for debate. And we do know that it was politicized here in the United States and other parts of the world. So, okay, let's look at some positives. So now Joe Biden is in for the moment or forever, depending on how God wants that to play out. So we can at least look to the positive of things, that COVID will probably go away now because it doesn't fit their political agenda. So let's just take that as okay, well, that's good. So now we can get out in our communities. And so I'm starting the Love Local initiative here with you guys. This is an initiative that was started through Easttown Church in San Ramon, but I was part of that launch team. We were one of the first families that were part of it. And so we built that Love Local from the ground up, and we know what it takes and what it looks like to get in your communities and to love local on people. And it's really super simple. And so I'm going to start unrolling these things out on the website where you can start to get involved with people. Because really, my friends, this is our only way to combat right now. Unless we're going to run for local government ourselves, and I don't know about you, that's definitely not what I want to do. I actually did think about it, which is scary in and of itself that was even a thought. But I'm not going to do that. What I can do is to reach people for Jesus. And that is the way we can fight back until God comes. He tells us to occupy. And Jesus says, be the salt and the light. He doesn't say just sit back and take it and wait for justice to come and for me to come pluck you out. No, he wants you to be busy right now because we are his disciples. We are the ones that are here in the earth that can reach the lost. And that's an important job, the most important job you could ever do. So I am asking you to join me in this movement, to get involved, to be active. I'm looking into adding a group chat on my website. I'm really, really trying to get off of these other social platforms because truthfully, we don't know how long we are going to have on there. If they're going to start silencing conservatives and religious people, if we are moving into a one world government and a one world religion where they tell us what religion we can actually be and like what's acceptable to the world. And we all know that's not going to be acceptable to God. So we need to kind of be moving off of these platforms. And so as we move through this, I would like to try to get everything off and onto the website so that we can communicate through there. Of course, I'm always going to be doing TikToks until I can't do them anymore. So you'll always be able to find me there. But I have deactivated my Facebook. I'm no longer on Facebook. I won't give them time anymore. I'm not doing that. So I would encourage you to get involved and start to look at the things that I post about Love Local. I have a creator fund on TikTok, which means I make money. I don't even know how it works. I just know I make money for as many views as I get. And so I'm going to be using that money that I get from TikTok to put back into the community to reach people for Jesus. And you'll be able to see that because I'd like to be able to share some of those videos as I'm doing it. So, when you're watching my videos or anything like that, just know if you like them or comment, I believe that helps with the algorithm and helps build that creator fund up. And that way we can reach as many people together. I think I just read as well, if you tap on the video, the actual video, if you tap really quickly, it'll do more hearts. And I think that also helps. So any way that we can, work together to build that fund so that we can go out in the community and give back. That's an amazing thing that we're able to do together. So there are little things, and I don't want you to feel hopeless. I want you to feel encouraged and energized that this is our time to be the salt and the light. There's a lot of hopelessness out there right now. Could you imagine going through everything we're going through without the hope of Jesus? I can't. And so I can only imagine the people. They're out there, they're looking, they're searching. And I believe this is all by divine intervention. I believe that this was divinely set up because you've got the people that woke up. Well, now there's a big group of us that can now work to bring hope to the hopeless. And I want you to be encouraged with that. So that's it for today's podcast. I am looking so forward to doing this. I would love to do it daily. I don't know that I can swing it, but you never know. Only God. God's got all of this, and He is really coming through and making all of this happen and bringing me such an awesome, amazing, just group of people. Y'all are wonderful, and I'm really enjoying interacting with each and every one of you. So thanks for listening. Share this with somebody if it blessed you today, if you think it would bring hope to someone, or if you know someone that would love to be getting involved in their community and really just shining the light in the dark place. I would so appreciate that. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless. And until we speak again, have a great day.